Back in the mid-90s, Netscape and Microsoft were duking it out for dominance in the emerging browser market. I said duke it out, not nuke it out. Netscape took another path, eventually becoming Mozilla. But the company did make an enormous contribution to the future of the internet. Developed in a mere 10 days by Netscape programmer Brendan Eich, JavaScript let early web users interact with page content rather than simply viewing it. Not to be confused with Java. JavaScript, or plain old JS, is now the most common programming language for website development, used by a vast majority of developers and websites. All of today's major web browsers are built to execute JavaScript. This widespread adoption has spawned more than 20 major frameworks and 80 popular libraries to support various use cases. The total number of JS libraries and frameworks is in the tens of thousands. Anyone can create them to facilitate different aspects of web development. Technically speaking, libraries are collections of JS functions a developer can use as needed. These can be used to add functionality and style to the website. Frameworks determine the conventions and structure of how JavaScript is applied to the entire website. These frameworks are like a blueprint you can use when starting to build a web application. But which one should you learn to level up your coding game? Let's take a look at some of their pros and cons, starting with the most common. Quick disclaimer. JavaScript developer opinions vary on which ones are best, and your learning style should focus on your use case and career goals. While we hope this lights up the comments section, we are not responsible for any views that arise from this video. The three biggest players in the JS landscape in 2021 are Angular, React, and Vue. These are built on the model view model, or MVVM architecture, and changes you make in the model synchronize and appear instantly in the view. Alongside the big three, we also need to mention jQuery, which is very common and used in specific cases. Developed by Google, the Angular framework has been around long enough that there is reliable employment for the Angular developer. Many developers also appreciate the ability to customize directives and inject dependencies. Developers aren't a fan of Angular's steep learning curve, which can be made more challenging by numerous version changes. React is maintained by Facebook, and developers who have mastered React library also enjoy a robust market. They're able to crank out code quicker thanks to React's no-nonsense document object model interface, or DOM for short.
So React focuses more on the view side. You don't have to worry about like how this UI, the data behind it, works between components. You just give the props or the data to the component, it will render for you. That's it. That's the whole concept of React. And especially React works with Redux, which is kind of like the React mate library. So with that, you can have communication between the children components, the parent. That's very easy to use. So that's why I love React the most.
They also appreciate the unidirectional data flow, making it easier to isolate and work on child elements. Learning React can be a tough proposition, deterring many would-be JS initiates. Developers love the Vue framework's reactivity. It features a two-way data stream enabling better communication between HTML blocks. Another plus is Vue's easy integration with other applications and frameworks. With great reactivity comes a tendency to overuse that feature and bog down what should be an easy project.
React is the most popular one at the moment. It's being used by everyone. It has the most activity, the most amount of plugins and tools which integrate with it, simply due to its amazing size. Vue is a bit more like an independent competitor. It has a lot of the same elements. It has a simpler approach, I believe, which makes it a preferable solution for many, especially when you're starting up. And it has a very strong support from the community itself as well. While Angular, which is backed by Google, is, like I said, an all-in-one solution. So it's more popular when you want to make a complex app without having to link together a bunch of different plugins to handle different state of your same app, unlike like React or Vue, which are only view layers.
Technically a library, jQuery doesn't require much in terms of resources and expertise to create stunning animation and special effects. It's lightweight, compatible with every major browser, and very straightforward to learn. There's ample documentation for most APIs and edge cases. Learning jQuery is like a history lesson in JavaScript. jQuery is used in over 70% of websites, but it's a large library to include. Part of this is because it has extensive polyfills to support older browsers. Many new websites are abandoning jQuery, and some devs argue it's becoming obsolete. It's also considerably slower than CSS when it comes to animation. CSS animations are great and can do a lot these days. If you need something slightly more complex and interactive, you may need to use JavaScript, and jQuery makes it easier to do. Without jQuery, you would have to deal with all sorts of compatibility issues and programming from scratch. With mastery of one or more of the big three plus jQuery, the savvy developer should consider learning some of the niche JavaScript libraries and frameworks. There are so many to choose from, but here are a few you might want to explore. Ember is a framework beloved for its flexibility and an inspector that simplifies debugging. Yet its uber steep learning curve leads many developers to avoid it altogether. A vast, well-organized library, Backbone is easy to learn, customizable, and integrates well with other applications. But that can be a drawback. Backbone might make it difficult to define models and determine what code is needed and where to add it. Developers give the Polymer library a thumbs up for its ease of use, flexibility with code and data flow, and overall high performance. Recently, Polymer branded as lit, which gets its name from tag template literals. It is the absolute bleeding edge technology of web components, and while it might not be natively well supported, this will lay the foundation for the next generation of websites. The Meteor framework is a solid choice for the inexperienced developer due to its ease of use, vast packages and libraries, and super smooth communication. On the flip side, server-side rendering isn't possible without a third-party package, for now, and support and native libraries are limited. By allowing your web server to use JavaScript on both the front and back ends, the Express framework supports a lean development process that's manageable for a single person. However, the learning curve can get steep once you start sorting through its single-threaded framework, middleware, and code organizations. One thing is certain: JavaScript is an important language for front-end web developers in 2021. If you have a favorite JavaScript library, framework, environment, or tool, let us know in the comments.